Much like a good opening, video games truly need to stick that landing if they're going to leave players walking away from the experience happy. So let's take a look at some truly downer endings that took blood, sweat and a lot of tears to unlock. Talk about a horrible reward. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 8 terrible secret video game endings that took incredible effort to unlock. Number 8. Betray your friends to help your enemies. Call of Juarez, The Cartel. Call of Juarez is a really underrated franchise, there's no doubt about that, but the problems with this series always seem to stem from the fact that while each of the entries has great intentions and indeed some brilliantly fresh ideas, the delivery of them seems to always fall a bit short. Take for example The Cartel, which had a brilliant mechanic revolving around each of the characters having a secret agenda to carry out, meaning that each of them would have personal side quests that they could achieve bonus rewards for if they could complete them without the other players knowing. Sounds brilliant, right? Well, for the most part it was. However, in the final moments of the game, you're given the opportunity to drop the facade and turn heel on your teammates, which you might think to yourself will actually net you the good ending, as it's infinitely harder to do than simply just complete the game. Well, how wrong you are. As for putting in the extra time and effort, you unlock the bad ending for each character, seeing them either arrested, murdered, or actually helping the real villains of the piece who are pulling the strings from behind the scenes. Not exactly what you'd expect, but then again, you have just murdered and betrayed those closest to you, even if they weren't exactly the nicest people. Number 7. The lowest rank mansion. Luigi's Mansion. Now, I know that you might argue that the worst ending from Luigi's Mansion might not count as a secret ending, as you literally only have to end the game with a terrible score in order to get it, but I have to ask you, have you actually tried getting this ending? Because it's borderline impossible. In order to net a shack that not even groundskeeper Willie would want to stay in, you'd have to actively avoid any and all cash collectibles throughout the game. And when you consider how prevalent these piles are and how aiming your super sucker of a weapon at anything usually results in coins exploding all over the place, this is a terrible ending that actually takes pure restraint to unlock. You'd actually have to be so accurate not to hoover up anything that you pretty much need to be decent at the game to do it, making for a terrible ending that weirdly only pros can hope to see. Number 6. Killing Everyone. Way of the Samurai 3. The Way of the Samurai games are truly wonderful times for those looking for granular narrative experiences, seeing as it's literally down to the player what they get up to from the moment they step foot in the land. From helping out locals with their problems to adding to the crime rates of the towns that you visit should you wish to become a drunken lout, you can literally be any type of samurai you wish. You can also become a demon. I thought that would get your attention. However, before you start questioning how you would put a t-shirt on with horns the size of a baguette coming out of your head, maybe you should consider the following. Getting this ending is incredibly arduous, and it's quite possibly the most disappointing one of the 20 plus other outcomes. For this, you need to kill everyone, which at first might seem like a pretty simple task. But the problem is, however, is that you actually need to be careful who you kill and in which order, as you need to keep some people alive in order to unlock interactions with other NPCs in order to then kill them, turning murder and mayhem into something akin to a bloody spreadsheet. For all of your sweat and indeed their blood, you get a 1-minute static image ending in which the game tells you that nobody could stop your rampage and that you just faded into legend. Cool, that seems rather deflating after all of that effort, doesn't it? Number 5. 100% completion. Jak and Daxter, The Precursor Legacy. If there is any 100% ending from a video game that I would actively tell you to avoid getting, then it would have to be this one, as there is no single fibre of my being that can recommend that you collect every single orb in the original and otherwise flawless Jak and Daxter The Precursor Legacy in order to witness this absolutely terrible ending. For your troubles, and trust me, thanks to some of the placements of these collectibles, troubles is a bloody apt word, you get to see what was finally behind that big mysterious door that you uncovered at the close of the vanilla experience. What could it be? Untold treasures? The secrets of a long-lost civilization? A half-eaten mouldy sandwich? I'd have honestly taken the latter over what we actually got, as what die-hard fans unlocked was a white light emanating from the door, all of the characters marvelling at said wonder, and then the game ending without finding out what it was. No please, waste my time more, I don't need it. Number 4. The Big Bad Boss of Nothing. Streets of Rage 1. Now let's get something clear. The Streets of Rage games are not exactly difficult titles to follow from a narrative perspective. Big Bad wants to rule the city, you don't want that to happen, and so you use your fists and kicks to put a size 11 stamp of justice all over the ugly face of crime. However, if you want the bad ending of Streets of Rage 1, then you actually need to do some pretty impressive backstabbing of your own. As you can only see this terrible ending by getting to the final stage with a friend in tow, have one of you agree to join Mr. X and the other deny the gang boss, battle each other, and then have the winner be the person who wanted to side with evil. Then select no one more time, and this will lead to a final boss battle, made all the harder by not having a teammate present. And this will end with your character ruling the city. But before you think that this is a good thing because now you have absolute power, just remember that you've battered every underling you could have had in the city and pissed off the rest, meaning that your time at the top is likely to be very, very short. Number 3, zero treasure, zero respect. DuckTales 2. So pretty much the driving force behind the DuckTale games is for Scrooge McDuck to consolidate even more of the world's wealth for his personal and rather offensive collection. It's not exactly the greatest message, is it, to be helping the 1% get even richer, but you know what? When it comes to gameplay, this series was pure 24-karat gold. That is, except for a ridiculously downbeat ending that the player could only unlock if they were absolutely terrible with money management. So throughout the game, the player will pick up treasures of varying value which they can use at the item shop for healing and other ability upgrades, and in order to get the bad ending, you'd need to spend literally every penny you have and end the game with $0 to your name. Now, this is actually much harder to do than you might think because you need to spend the exact amount in the store in order to hit absolute zero, and then you'd have to be careful not to pick up any more treasure after this point. Doing all of this careful coin tossing rewards you with your arch enemy finding your treasure and being named the best adventurer in the world. Now, to be fair, the game does have a point. If you'd got on with finding that treasure and not being a terrible investor, then maybe you too would have a little bit more to your name than absolutely nothing. Number 2, Sophie is a zombie. House of the Dead. If there's one thing that the House of the Dead series teaches you, other than how to type in the fantastically addictive Typing of the Dead offshoot, is that zombies are bad and must be shot in the face at every given opportunity. Therefore, knowing that there's an ending in the almighty House of the Dead original which turns Sophie, a lovely lady caught up in the middle of all these monsters, into one of these foul creatures, well, it's probably something you'd want to avoid, right? Well, to be clear, it's very, very easy not to see this outcome, as it turns out that you have to be pretty specifically bad at the game in order to unlock it. In order to see Sophie all grossed up, then you need to achieve under 62,000 points across your playthrough, which is actually incredibly hard to do, seeing as you'll need to selectively take damage and not kill enemies in order to do this. In fact, the score will actually need to also end in a 0 as well as an extra little annoyance. Adding to the difficulty, however, is the fact that you can't use a single continue while sucking so badly, making the process almost impossible, as now you have to balance avoiding enemies and tanking damage but without dying. All this, lest we not forget, for the bad ending. And number 1, utter destruction, one step from Eden. If you love the Mega Man Battle Network games and watch anime for the plot and not the air quotes plot, then One Step from Eden is most definitely the game for you, mixing an outlandishly addictive battle system and a wonderful art style into a brilliant package that is always a pleasure to play through. Well, as long as you're not going for the ultimate bad ending, that is, which is, quite frankly, a terrible way to close out the game and is one that will cause you to pull your hair out. For a start, to get this genocide run ending, you'll need to kill everything, including all bosses, allies, and even the poor old shopkeeper. Although, to be honest, even trying to murder this merchant is a pain in the arse, as it's the hardest boss fight in the entire bloody game bar none. And your reward for destroying everything and everyone? Well, money is now completely useless, so I hope you didn't need any items, and I hope that you didn't want to be revived by those that you spared should you fall in battle, because no one's going to have your back after you've just stabbed them in theirs. And to top it all off, the ending that you get is that the world, Eden, and all of existence is destroyed forever. Brilliant. Just the cold expanse of nothingness for all eternity. Cool. And there we go, my friends. Those were 8 terrible secret video game endings that took incredible effort to unlock. I hope you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below. As always, I've been Jules. You can go follow me over on Twitter at RetroJ with a 0, or you can swing by Live and Let's Dice, that's Dice with a C, where I do all of my streaming outside of work, and it'd be great to see you over there. But before I go, my friend, I just want to say one thing. I hope that you're being kind to yourself, both mentally and physically, because you know what, my friend? You deserve love, happiness, and success. We all do as human beings, and I hope that you go out there and absolutely smash your life goals today. I believe in you, my friend. Big love, you massive ledge. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.